Alright. D2 The Mighty Ducks. This came out. The first one was in 1992. This was 95. So 3 years later, we got D2 The Mighty Ducks. And it continues where the first one left off, where it follows Gordon, now in the minor leagues, and he gets injured, which forces him to go back home. And he's approached by Mr. Tibbles, who is of the Junior Goodwill Games, and they want him to coach Team USA, with the Ducks, of course. Returning from the first film are Charlie, Averman, Goldberg, Connie, Guy, Jesse, and Banks. Those are the only ones that... And Fulton. There's the 8 that come back from the first film. Meanwhile, they are going to be part of Team USA, and they are put together with others from around the country. And so Tommy, Tammy, Terry, Carp, and Peter are replaced with Dwayne, Portman, Ken, Julie, and Luis. And eventually we do get one more down the line in the form of Russ Thompson, played by Kenan Thompson. So, right from the start, Charlie has an uneasy feeling about this when they go to get their jerseys and they're Team USA, not the Ducks. And he's got a point. They wanted the Ducks. And it's the same point you can make in the third one, too. They wanted the Ducks, but they're going to give them different names. But you wanted the Ducks. I mean, you get the players. You get what you wanted. You get what you wanted. You get the Ducks, but they're not the Ducks. They're something else. And this starts the pattern of these movies. And I'll get to it in the third one. I'm going to write down the pattern. And I'll go through the Mighty Ducks formula, so to speak. And due to this newfound fame, Gordon lets it go to his head. He becomes Mr. Big Shot, his hair back. He's wearing, he becomes sort of a lighter toned version of what he was in the first one. There's no alcohol, and he's not as angry. He's just cocky, and he thinks he's Mr. Big Shot. They even play the song, Mr. Big Stuff. Who do you think you are? Mr. Big Stuff. And he gets him up in his head. And what I like about this movie is it not only just focuses on Gordon, like most of the first film was all about Gordon. They showed the kids here and there, but the kids are a little bit more focused in this as well as Gordon. Because it's now showing from two different sides. There's Gordon, there's Charlie, and the rest of the team. So Charlie is basically the leader at this point. Whereas in the first film, you could say Peter was sort of the leader because he was always like speaking up for everyone. And he was kind of, come on, let's go, or whatever. And he even led the split when Terry, and Jesse left in the first one. So it was kind of like you could say Peter was sort of the de facto leader, but now Charlie has become this leader. And so it kind of follows the two factions. It follows the Ducks on one part of the movie, and it follows Gordon on the other side. And Hans, who was played by Joss Ackland. That's the actor's name. I remembered it when I was watching this one. He's not even in this one. He's replaced by Jan Rubes, who plays Jan. I don't know why Joss Ackland didn't come back. The story here is that he went back to visit Mama. So that's why they got Jan instead. And Jan is basically Hans, but different actor, different name. It's basically the same thing. He's there for moral support. He's there to help Gordon, And I think, Mr. Tibbles, he replaces MC Gainey's character basically. And Charlie's mom is barely in this. And they mention that Charlie's mom got remarried, but we don't ever see the husband. I think they get divorced eventually. We didn't ever see the husband. Because Jan mentions that since Charlie's mom remarried, he's been hanging out at the skate shop and helping out. And this is something that was brought up. This kind of explains something that was brought up in the first one. Charlie was talking to Gordon about how his mom would go out on dates and they would leave at the sight of seeing him. Well, the fact that his mom got remarried and he didn't at least run off, at least at this point, makes you think that it was because Gordon came along and helped out the kids that it sort of not only changed Gordon, but helped change Charlie to the point where he's not, where he's more well behaved and he's not such a, you don't have to say Charlie grew up a little bit, but yeah. One thing that always confused me is the beginning of this, you got 3 of the members of the Hawks who were scorned by the Ducks in the first one and want to get revenge. And they got these deep voices because, puberty. And then Fulton shows up and he's got this deep voice too. He's like, "Hi, guys." For the rest of the film, it's not that deep. I don't know if they messed with the volume to make him sound more intimidating. The rest of the film, he has his normal voice. And Elden Henson does not have that deep of a voice. But yeah, their big villain this time was the Hawks in the last one. It's Team Iceland this time. And more specifically, Wolf the Dennis Stanson. And he's the antagonist for Bombay, basically. As Gordon's antagonist in the first one was Jack. Here it's Stanson. So, there's that conflict. And then while they're playing and they're not doing well, they're constantly being heckled by Russ Thompson, played by Kenan Thompson. And, eventually, Russ takes the Team USA Ducks, or whatever you want to call them, to the hood, or wherever it is. They play at a local street ball cage or whatever. And they play there, and they teach them how to play schoolyard puck, or whatever. And, that's a good, teach them how to play. And then they show them the trick, the gloves, stick, gloves, shirt. All right? That thing. And eventually, when Banks, Cake Eater, he injures his wrist and is not able to play, and Bombay notices it eventually, and he's taken out. See, what happens is, during this, Bombay's head gets high up, and it's Jan who has to talk to him. Just like in the first one, it was Hans who talked him, and got his head in the game. It's Jan who talks him in and gets his head in the game, and just helps him out and helps him figure out he's being a jerk. This leads to something that I don't think would actually happen. So, when it's game time, Bombay's not there. And so, because Charlie's worried they're going to cancel the game, he says that Miss McKay, played by Catherine Erb, who was their teacher, is the coach. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm the coach. What are you doing? We ready to ice the freeze? Let's play." And the referee is allow it. Here's the problem. Everyone knows Bombay's the coach. So saying that she's the coach isn't going to do anything. The referee's like, "That's not Bombay." Like, it's been advertised. There's cardboard cutouts, Wheaties boxes, everything. Everyone in the world who's watching the hockey game knows that Bombay is the coach, including the referees. So her saying she's the coach shouldn't work, but it does because movie logic. And then partway through, Bombay comes back and he makes an apology or whatever. I don't even know who wins that game, but they start winning again. Eventually, it's Team USA versus Team Iceland. So yeah, after they makes an apology and everything's back to normal. I forgot where I was going with that. Like they even play out Gordon's. Like he tells Banks, I can't let you play, and he apologizes for being so and said he didn't notice it. And so they bring in Russ, and they do this whole showdown thing between Gordon and Stanson, or Bombay and Stanson, where you have, they do a one-on-one thing, and then of course Stanson, being the bad guy, I think it's called sticking. He hits him in his bad leg with the hockey stick. So it's time for the big game. Iceland versus USA. And they're ready to play. All the players, everyone's there, and Banks shows up and says, Coach, I woke up this morning, my arm was fine. And so then Russ is not needed. But Charlie, and this is, my voice is going out. I remember when I first watched this. Because like I said, I didn't see this in order. I was like 1, 3, 2. Because I was in the middle of watching the tapes. The third one came out. Watched that one, and then I gotta go back and watch 2. Because in this one they coined the phrase Bash Brothers between Fulton and Portman, which is cool. I like the Bash Brothers. That's one of the things I like about it. But so Charlie gives up his spot, and Gordon's like, I need you coaching right there with me. I'm like, when I first saw this, I didn't like it. I'm like, why is he giving him a spot? Seeing as I already saw the third one, I'm like, I know he still plays for the hockey team. So why, it doesn't make any sense why, why he, they had too many, I guess, but he's helping coach, he just basically stands there, but he helps out. I think he comes up with a play, I think. Eventually, it goes down to a shootout, basically. Each team gets 5 shots, and eventually, of course, the Ducks got the most important part. Of course, they're losing the game, and then they go back for the halftime or whatever, and they decide, they do this whole thing, Ducks fly together, and then list where everyone came from, which is mostly in Minnesota. Even McKay, which for some reason is from Duluth, Minnesota, even though they meet her in Minnesota, I don't know. But, maybe they did. No, it was in Los Angeles that I don't know. But, so they say all that, and then they're like, Ducks fly together. And so Jan comes in, he goes, no, it's time for all Ducks and new Ducks to fly together. So I thought something new was in order. And you see the Mighty Ducks logo, which also confused me when they show them in the third one, because I hadn't seen the second one. When I first saw the third one, and I was like, where did that come from? Because, I was thought one of the first one was that weird duck thing and skates. So, yeah, it makes sense. But, yeah, and they eventually win. There's this play that I always like when do the play. They're not going to let Russ do any shots because he's their sharpshooter like Fulton was in the first one. So they set up this trick where they switch the jerseys and they put Russ in Goldberg's jersey and put him in as the goalie, and then it's shooting back to Goldberg. He takes the thing up. That's not Goldberg. It's Russ. Stanson, the most funny goalie. But Luckle Puck time. Score. You know, the final. They do the final, whatever. And the shootout, whatever it is. And the Ducks win, of course. I don't remember who gets the last shot. It's not Cake Eater. Is it Banks? I think it is Banks because he gives the trophy to Charlie. So I think it's Banks that makes the shot. And they win. And I also like this is when Gunnar Stahl, who plays for Iceland, and is one of only two actors, is the only actor who's not a member of the Ducks or associated with the Ducks to be in more than one film. Like, well, I guess except for those three there at the beginning of the movie, but like Scott White, the actor who plays Gunnar Stahl, also plays Scooter in the third one. So it's weird. He was also in City Guys, which was a good show. Pardon me. But so there's this great there's this part where there's this sort of confrontation between him and Stanson, where Gunnar grabs him and he goes, "You blew it for. You lost it for me." And Gunnar just looks at him and goes, "You lost it for yourself. Let's go shake their hands." And then they're all shaking their hands, and he gets to Charlie and he goes, "Well done, Captain Duck," or "Good job, Captain Duck." And thanks, Gunnar. And then, you know, Gordon and Stanton shake hands. "We'll see you again," which they don't. But yeah, and then they sing "We Are the Champions" around a campfire, but Goldberg burns his marshmallow or sets it on fire. But yeah, it's still pretty good. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. It's still a pretty good film. For some reason, I like the first one more this watch. I don't know why. I've always liked this one better, but twice as many laughs as the original. Still a pretty good movie. And we'll get to the third one here in a little bit. But yeah, D2 The Mighty Ducks gets an 8 out of 10 for me. So what are your thoughts on D2 The Mighty Ducks? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.